All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawadah from the Men of Valor Camp here in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth. Lord willing, it could be edifying. And I'm watching this video right here. All right, dialogue works. You know, it's like one of those, watch Judge, and these, they going in, and I'm, there's many things you could do a whole sit down on different talking points, but, the Spirit is having me speak on this one because it's very important and it can very much turn the tide of, how things are moving. Okay. And I've done a similar video like this, as well. I don't, make bold, assumptions, so to speak. I'll, display what other people are speaking on, and how logically it could be through the Spirit, but they're saying, this part right here that I'm going to play, they're speaking on Nero 47's performative and his cognitive decline. All right, I'll use their words. Sometimes you got to break out their words on, performative and cognitive decline, meaning, okay, he ain't the same Trump from 2016. He ain't the same Trump that was running and, he quit with it. Now, he's still more competent than Biden, but he's still up in age too. He's 80. He has shitty health. All right. He did a disappearance at, a couple months ago or something. They was like, he ain't make somebody that was so in the public eye, and the reason why people are able to pick up on this because he speaks every day. Like, he, especially when he got in office, man, I remember on inauguration day, he did like a whole hour speech just yapping. But now he's starting to, they're going to point something out, and Esau is a damn devil. He's a liar, of course, but, I don't put it past the fact that his health may be declining. And it would make sense if that's the case, just in case, because Esau always got a contingency plan. All right, they like Trump. They don't plan. Trump is still the president. He doing exactly what these elites want him to do. However, he's still up in age, and they choose who they want to, be the next, figurehead. As we have always known, presidents are not elected; they're selected. All right, the electoral college still determines the presidency. Which means what? The popular vote don't even fucking matter. We didn't see that in all type of, elections. All right. It still goes to the electoral college. And who was Trump's vice president the first go around? It was Mike Pence. All right. Mike Pence still alive. He not even as old as Trump, I don't think. Okay. But that's not who he had as his running mate. He had J.D. Vance, who is coming out, is Peter Thiel, who's the CEO of Palantir's, protege. How about that? So they're Palantir and these technocrats have slid fully into this administration. They have control of the entire government. Okay. Trump can continue to yap and do all that. It don't matter. But even if he dies or if he's unable to run the country or he gets removed, because, hey, I just saw on Twitter, they didn't release some more photos of Trump with victims, weird gloves and shit like that. So it's coming out. Esau's being made bare. And it's starting with the damn head of Babylon. All right, this is intentional from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, But they're gonna go into it, I'm gonna let the video play. He may very well have dementia, and like one of the guys is gonna say, and these are men that served in the military. They're old, they're Edomites as well. All right, but they telling the truth. The Lord is making their own tongue to fall upon themselves, man. So I like to listen to these type of videos, and because they be going in. They actually were a part of America's military structure. One was a colonel in the U.S. Army, and one is the former U.S. Secretary of Defense, Assistant Secretary of Defense. So he was right under the Secretary of Defense. He was number 2 in command. All right, so he knows a thing or two concerning Esau's military. And he says Trump got dementia. So check this out. I'm going to let some of this play.
What are we doing? I think, Larry, you mentioned your doubt that the president is in full command of his faculties. I think there's no doubt about that, about the deterioration in his appearance and performance. He has dementia. He can't complete a sentence. He can't hold a thought through a full paragraph. He has colorful vocabulary at the fourth grade level, but that's it. And this is a man who is very likely not to finish his second term in office, I think. And we face the prospect of J.D. Vance as the president, something which will not enthuse Europeans, at least. And there are questions as well about Vice President Vance's attitudes toward various countries in the Middle East. So we are entering more and more uncharted territory as a nation.
Yeah. Here is the video I think you both were mentioning about Donald Trump and his sort of the state of his mind.
You released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
You said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike on September 2nd off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth now says...
That. You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
Yeah.
Got him. Just like that. Just like that. He out of there. You know? They pulled the video, man. And when he said he had no problem releasing it. And then the other one, he said what? What did he say? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. That's fake news. And that he basically resorted to his natural default. That's how Trump talk, Very interesting. But I want to get this one. I'm gonna let this play a little more.
Maybe some news. This is Trumpian dementia.
Right, exactly. And I don't base the statement about our president's health simply on observing his performance in the way that you've just illustrated, Nima, but on a very detailed analysis by John Gardner, a psychologist who believes that Trump is, in fact, going to be unable to complete this term in office, and who provides a very detailed analysis and evidence for the presence of both malignant narcissism, paranoia, but also dementia in a rapidly advancing form. And as I've mentioned, I think I live in a Giza warehouse, and I see dementia as it develops. And it's pretty unmistakable in our president at the moment.
Yeah.
He said it's unmistakable. All right, so they have a contingency plan. That's why J.D. Vance is there, and low key he there's means of him that he gonna get that Elamite wife of his out the way. All right, and he you saw how he was moving with Erica Kirk. They didn't got fucking old Kirko out the way. Interesting.
Yeah, Nima, I don't worry so much, though I do take the ambassador's points to heart about J.D. Vance becoming president, as I worry about what I saw with Biden. What Lincoln and Sullivan did was maintain power, knowing that their president was growing increasingly senile and subject to dementia-like symptoms, because of power. And they pretty much orchestrated U.S. policy, unelected though they were, for the last year at least. If Donald Trump goes into that sort of mode, this group from Miller to Hegseth to Rubio will just go berserk with the policies that they can influence, and no one will stop them.
I'd argue they're already doing that, Larry. You see charges by the president that people who defend the military the code of conduct and the international legal principle that we established in World War II, that illegal orders must not be followed, you see him accusing them of treason and sedition. The same.
And that's very important. I'm gonna stop it right there. By definition, he's accusing them of treason. All right. And, through the Spirit, man, starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone to the men on down, said through the Spirit, this is Nero coming back, man. And this is what it seems like him and his decline, like Apostle DeHart said, he said he was going to come back. And that plays into 2 Corinthians 15, sedition among men, invading one another, because, hey, I'm in the field, all right? I speak to, young Edomite women and, and even young Edomite men, and you still have some that are diehard MAGA, and then you got a lot of them that don't fuck with Trump. These young Edomite women don't fuck with Trump, man. They don't fuck with Trump, which means they're not going to deal with men that fuck with Trump. They trying to get with Jake anyway. So Trump was hey, even at camp, when we were speaking to this one guy who was, conversing with us, the camera had cut, but I told him, it was like 3 of them. I told him, I was like, hey, Trump was your last, hope. I see how they prop this guy up to be your last hope. And there was this old Edomite woman getting out the car, and she might have been drinking. Older Edomite woman, and she was with her husband, and she heard me say Trump, and she heard me say Trump, and she perked up. She perked up, and she said, "What did you say?" And I repeated it, because Esau in this decline, man. Through the Spirit, I did the video on Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter yesterday. All right. Trump was their last hope for America to go back to the 50s and shit. But he didn't show that, Israel didn't slid up in there, man. Them tiny tops. Bibi said he coming back to the White House. That's his 6th time. They love that number 6. All right. But nonetheless, everybody sees that, Trump is not pro-America. He's the epitome of America. All right. But he's very much pro-tiny top. And plus, they got this leverage is coming out against them. All right, so the Lord is very, strategic in this. All right, the Lord, he rules in the kingdom of men and setteth up, whithersoever he will. And we in the Esau's world, man, and the Lord is bringing them down. He's making them bare. Let's get this, Isaiah chapter 14. And I'm going to go right to the point. Verse 4, it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Okay? Who's the current king of Babylon? Is Trump's ass right now. If they get Biden up there, not Biden, if they get Vance up in there, we'll see. But as of right now, it's Trump. And everybody in the span of under a year, under his first term, they went from loving him to like, what the fuck is going on? They didn't turn on him. His own people didn't turn on him. And he turned on his people too, man. Make it. So this is a taunting proverb, man. Against this devil, man. The Lord is laughing at, the heavens are laughing at this guy, man. We laughing at this guy. But he fulfilling prophecy. He's still going to be a tyrant. He's still an Edomite. He still got that old conquering spirit in him, man. That the Lord put in these devils. The Lord put them on the earth to be that red horse, and power was given unto them that sat there on to take peace from the earth. That's all. America is the epitome of that, man. What they're doing in Venezuela is the epitome of that. But the Lord is still breaking them down. They're still stretched in. And I saw a video. I can't, confirm it or not, but it makes sense. The reason why they might be hunkering down on Venezuela, they could get the oil and shit like that, but they have oil. It does two things. It's basically, they need to tighten up as far as other countries buying in, other currencies, not the petrodollar. Because the only thing that's propping the U.S. currency up at this point is the fact that, it's still bought. Most of the world still buys in oil, but they have started to diversify. All right. So that's one instance. But also, China is planning on taking Taiwan, and America's not going to be able to occupy themselves in dealing with that. So they're going back to that old Monroe Doctrine spirit of the Western Hemisphere belongs to us. All right. If we can't rule, we're going to rule from this hemisphere first, because, they do have everything they need on this side as well. There's a reason the Europeans pillaged North and South America, man. It's rich in resources. So that's where America's like, we're going to deal with this right here. You can take Taiwan, because that might be what's about to go down, man. Scripture say, wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. But we standing upon our watch. We're watching these things, man. There's a lot going on. Verse 5, it says, the Lord Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger. All right, that's how he rules. He rules the nations in anger. Is persecuted and none hindereth. Now his ass going down. Them damn Epstein, him and Epstein was buddies. He claimed he didn't know the guy. All these pictures coming out. And that's why they don't want to release that list. But either way, the image is received. But I'm going to stop right there through the spirit, man. This devil's going down. All right. We'll see what happens, with his health. We'll see if he finish. Hey, he definitely ain't going to finish his term. A whole 4-year term? I don't think we got 4 years here through the spirit. 2026 is going to be a hell of a year. All right. So Lord willing, to edifying, to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till the next time, Shalom.